What's up, heathens? How you doing? Tonight on the live stream, we have the second part of the debunk for the Convex Earth. Last week, we covered a few experiments. We covered like 2 experiments. One was electromagnetic waves traveling over a body of water, and then there was the building's GPS thing. Then there was also the GPS in the water. So, it was really just a GPS experiment and then electromagnetic waves over like a certain body of water. And apparently it took these guys like 7 years in order to get this shit done? They legit just had to walk around their backyard in order to do this shit. Don't know why it took them 12 years. The main guy running it though, UFO enthusiast. Like, he's a UFOologist is what he calls himself. So if that gives you any kind of indication as to how crazy as fuck this whole thing is, that should. Anyways, we got that. But before that, we have Today I Learned. And then we also have comments. So let's go on ahead, get on into the live show. It's good to see Peachy here. Of course, the default. KC is in the house. 20 View, Andrew Kroll, Big Keg, Nadine Callan, Godless Journey, all of these awesome people. Edgy Emo Atheist, Redacted Reese, Bo Holbo Rasmussen. That was a mouthful. Chrismer. No Sacred Cows. What is up, Not Joe Witness? All right, let's get on into it, shall we? Red's rhetoric? Reds, what am I missing? The Convex Earth. That's what you're missing, Reds. I'm sure Reds will correct me many times throughout tonight. I'm going to try not to embarrass him, I guess. But today I learned when Dungeons and Dragons was released, various groups believed it was a front for murderous Satanists. This led to Tom Hanks' first starring role in the TV propaganda movie Mazes and Monsters, in which he becomes his D&D character and stabs a hobo. I was totally expecting that to go a different route. A hobo in Manhattan because he thought it was a goblin. Woo!
Is a goblin-shaped hobo?
Yeah. that it was. All right. So, yes, Tom Hanks, hopefully, he obviously did some better roles, but that one probably wasn't the best one. All right, let's see. We got another Today I Learned. This is a very unfortunate Today I Learned. That NYC beekeepers noticed their bees making red honey, which led to an investigation that ultimately exposed the city's largest marijuana farm in the basement of a Brooklyn cherry factory. Color me confused as to why they were doing it in a basement, let alone a cherry factory basement, let alone bees are the ones that outed them. Those fucking snitches. Look, bees, snitches get stitches, okay, bitches? All right, one more Today I Learned, and this one's on a personal fucking note, okay? Christmas, all I can afford tonight, blaze it, motherfuckers! You seen those new Doritos Blaze? I feel like somebody's gonna end up crunching those up and sniffing them, and as blood drips down their face, they're gonna be like, blaze it, motherfuckers! Alright, today I learned a former NFL player, James Brooks, was found to be illiterate when he was unable to read court documents after admitting to not paying over $100,000 in child support. When the judge asked how he graduated from Auburn without being able to read, he said, "Didn't have to go to class." That is the current fucking state of our college system as it is related to football fucking players. All right. So now, on to the comments. I know you guys love the comments, and we'll try to blaze right on through this shit tonight. All right, so Dr. Gene Kim says that atheists are dumb for 3 reasons. Okay, so this one was kind of an odd video to produce, but this person says, Godless engineer, I'm glad you pay so much attention and follow Pastor Gene Kim and his ministries. Even if it is just to debate, it shows you are looking for truth because you are lost. Maybe looking for answers? Many of us are. We'll pray for you. Damn, I thought they were about to do something productive for a second. I'm glad you're going to pray for me and not actually do anything. So, I really don't like it when people are like, oh, you must be lost. No, motherfucker, I know exactly where the fuck I am, okay? Let's see, Bull says, cherry-flavored pot honey, sounds like a strain name. That would be an awesome fucking strain, I bet. What flavor you got tonight? Oh, this be the cherry bee snitches strain, I guess. I don't know. I went out of frame for that, luckily, so that nobody knows that I'm the one that said it. Yes, I don't know pot. All right, this is going to be a fun one right here. Injects pumpkin spice into arm, not sniffs it up the nose. God bless America, y'all! In the video, I sniff pumpkin spice, not inject it. So, I mean, really, it's their fault. Bud Light! Blah. I expect better beer quality in the future. You're not getting it. Oh, this is very fancy, Bud Light. Though, I will say, because it has lime in it that we personally squeezed. And it's also in a Dallas cup. The reunion tower that we went to during Faithless Forum. So, yeah. Fancy as fuck Bud Light. KC squeezed it, although I did supervise the other night. All right. This one's kind of funny. Jesus is alive and well. You don't have wonder. Just meet him. Wait, sorry. Jesus is alive and well. You don't have wonder. Just meet him. Get to know him. Do not listen to man. Go right to the source. Excuse me, Cynthia, but the Bible was written by man, and that's the only way that we know anything about Jesus, so I don't know what the fuck you want from me. You are mentally retarded, and this is the first comment that won't get loved. Motherfucker, I love the shit out of that. But he knows the way, brother. I'm fairly certain that was just a troll comment in order to get on the mean comments of the day thing. So, oh well. All right, last one, and then we'll go on ahead and we'll get on into the Convex Earth stuff so Red's Rhetoric can correct me and then go back to, I don't know, looking at the ISS or something. If evolution of real, why are there still lizards? Clearly, is a shell for the Illuminati and their lizard people overlords keep trying to hide the truth of the flat earth. Suck my balls. The earth is flat. Feels like a cadence. At some point, there's a cadence. Gee! Yeah, I know. I was literally pronouncing it. It's the same way that I do with Lamafau. Is that enough random cap words? Lol. Thank you. Not dead. I appreciate that. That was ingenious. All right, y'all ready to get on into this convex Earth bullshit? I have to say, okay. So everybody, close your eyes. let's set the scene. We spent a full 45 minutes last time going over bullshit experiments that do not prove that the Earth is flat. They don't prove it at all. Electromagnetic waves suffer atmospheric refraction and cause it to sort of bend with the curvature of the Earth. They don't know this for some reason because they're poor at research. So they set up a few experiments over like 5 years and they did them. And they concluded, oh, it's flat, even though like the radio wave one only went 1.4 kilometers instead of the 14 kilometers it supposedly went. They also did not see the lights from all the way across the thing. It was only until that fucking laser was there and they raised the laser up. So all in all, last time they didn't prove shit, but yet they claim victory. This time, though, they're starting with an experiment on Lake Titicaca. I'm holding back laughter over that name. I know it's real. It's a serious lake. I just love saying Titicaca. Okay? All right. So let's see what they got to go. What they got going on with this laser beam.
And the result of the laser experiment carried out at Lake Titicaca.
All right, so with where they say that they're at, which I actually have a super chat real quick. Bo Holbo Rasmussen, let's spread the caca and them titties. But okay, so at the point, I checked out the 2 points. For one thing, on their website where they list all of the experimental information, they do not actually list the longitude and latitude in a way that like even Google can recognize. So like, I don't know exactly where they were because I can't figure out what the fuck the coordinates were supposed to be. And I was really busy today. But they did have the towns listed, which the town that's listed is, I mean, it's not near the water. I don't know if that's just where they bunked at or something, but they basically did it over this very short range on one side of Lake Titicaca. And it was like it's between 30 and like 38 kilometers is what the width could be, depending on what place you're at.
It is hitting the hill on the hill. Look over there. It is hitting a tree above us here. Look at theirs. Look at theirs.
Look at fucking what? You don't have shit on the camera. I don't know, could you invest in some better fucking like camera equipment? You spent 7 years doing this shit. Couldn't you get some better goddamn equipment? You had fucking high-powered telescopes in here before. You couldn't fucking get some decent-ass cameras?
Are you pointing yours too? We're seeing. We see yours.
Okay, so obviously you don't need a laser in order to see lights on the other side of this area that they're shooting from. Again, we don't know exactly where they're shooting from because apparently they don't know how fucking longitude and latitude works on their goddamn website. But, I mean, you can obviously see that there are lights on the other side. We're not told what these other lights are. We're just saying, see, we can see them. And, I mean, I'm guessing that it might be that faint little dot that's right there. But, I mean, you see these other dots, so I'm not sure.
It's just too high. It's very high.
It's too high.
Look
it's
there.
Very high.
You saw. In this direction. It made it. There, it appeared again. Go. There, it made it again.
Oh, okay,
That's
there
it.
you go.
Stop there. More to the left. Stop.
I like how he's like directing them on the other side, like through a radio. They're like, no, go to the left, go up a little bit. That is perfect. Y'all got the shot you need in order to put together this bullshit documentary? Good deal.
Stop there. Stop. Through light here. It is illuminating here. It is moving there too. Here it is illuminating everything. We have already done the first tests, and the laser of team number 1 has already appeared here in the treetops that are on our side.
Okay, so they said that the laser appeared on the treetops on their side. Now, I double-checked earlier, And you know, the trees that are in that area, at least that I saw on Google Maps when looking around just the general area, you do have bushes that are like 2 meters, but those are usually around houses from what I could tell. And huh? Well, no. Well, no, they were like small trees that were about 2 meters tall. Bushes to small trees. Anyways, so but for the most part, they would look like pretty much normal like pin or sarsaparilla or sassafras, something fucking, you know, coniferous kind of looking trees that were there. And I mean, they got to be like normal height that's, you know, kind of around me. So we're looking at between like 50 and 60 meters tall in that area. So what he's really talking about is the laser is appearing at the tops of the trees. So unless they're near buildings that have just this private access to a beach, which I don't know if there are any. Google's like little live view didn't go there, but I'm gonna guess that it was probably in the range of like 40 to like 60 meters up. And I mean, if it was hitting the trees, then I mean, it would kind of make sense that they had to like, you know, have their laser on their other side, you know, a certain ways up. And also with the atmospheric refraction, it also makes sense that it would hit on the other side. So they're not actually proving anything's flat. It's just fucking it. They're not being very clear with their actual results. They're just making grandiose statements about what they're seeing.
Then the trees here have about 2 meters, 2.5 meters. So there we start.
Some are, others are not. and the ones that they would likely be hitting are the taller trees. They're not really giving us an indication of what is around them either. Pay attention to what they actually leave out versus what they claim.
Directly discarding the hypothesis of the Earth being spherical. Because we are 35 kilometers away from team number 1 in a straight line from end to end, on the lake, on lake level. And according to the theory of spherical Earth, that 35 kilometers should give at least 23 meters and 98 centimeters of Earth's curvature. So a light communication would be impossible, as we just have had.
So somebody in the comments is saying that they mentioned Amanatini Island, but if let's see, experiment with the laser. Location A was Julie, Peru, and the other and Team B location was Copacabana, Bolivia. Let's see. They measured it across like shit. Oh, okay. So basically, which you just so if you want to look, this is Copa. Well, fuck, you can't see my cursor. Hold on. All right, so wait, why can't you see my cursor? Oh. Cursor. Okay. This is Copacabana, and then the Julie, Peru is Julie Copa what? No. Okay, so here's the Julie. So they're pretty much going from right here to right here, it seems.
The result was positive here. We could see the laser on the other team there, and they could see us too. More than 30 kilometers, so there was no curvature.
No, there was a curvature. I mean, you did it at night, in the very first part of the debunk that we've done here, you actually showed the curvature of the Earth, and then you invented some new scientific fucking principle in order to explain why you don't see the rest of the ship. Like, no, it's a fucking curve. It's they're not proving anything with this because the lasers are electromagnetic waves. They're going to curve with the curvature of the Earth.
Total flatness. The research here was excellent. Here with this laser visibility test, Team 2 and Team 1 at 35 kilometers. There really was an unusual commutation at a distance of 35 kilometers, and that there should be an arc of approximately 24 meters. Neither Group 1 or 2 should be seeing the lights.
But how could one project a laser beam from one shore to another, 35 kilometers away, if, in the theory of the spherical Earth, there would be a...
Oh, Jesus Christ, this motherfucking thing again? Like, I get it. You're taking the 8 inches per square mile or whatever, literally. Like, you're taking that to heart. I get it. But at the same time, you have the Earth that is sitting in a fucking bowl, and then you've got a laser that looks like an old-ass, like, video camera, and it's sitting on its own little plateau where nothing would ever be. Also, if you were to actually draw this correctly, you would have to angle your little TV camera fucking laser thing up a little bit, and then it would curve with the curvature of the Earth. Plus, I really don't think that the height right there is to scale. I mean, 35 kilometers of curve, like height or whatnot, is not that much when you consider how big the Earth is. Like, it would not, like, that is a huge curve. It would not be that big.
curvature of 24 meters in height, and the laser equipment was positioned at 2 meters high, parallel to the water level.
Lake Titicaca has a width of 65 kilometers and a length of 165 kilometers. Other people say that the lake has spines, but it has not. It's a flat surface. It is a mirror Lake Titicaca here in Peru. If you look, for example, 30 to 40 kilometers, the lake looks flat.
Well, yeah, and it would look flat. I mean, obviously you would see some curve in that eventually, but also notice he said that you could only see so far in a flat way, but that's also him fucking eyeballing it. You know, I had a house that was built one time way back in the 60s that eyeballed it. Nothing was fucking straight at all, but I'm sure that their crooked ass eyes saw it as straight. Slow-mo for effect.
This is
I like how now it's just a flat thing with the two things on the side, but when they build it up to be a curve, like they don't change anything else. They just make it bulge out to make it seem like it's impossible.
yet another unquestionable proof of the flatness of the waters, which definitively overturns the theory of the sphericity of the Earth.
No, sir, it does not. Please stop making grandiose statements that aren't true. Gravity. Now, I am genuinely interested in this because without gravity, like, nothing in reality makes sense. Gravity is one of those big giant gears that if you take it out, nothing is gonna fucking work, right? So I'm always wondering how flat earthers explain everything we see in reality that's due to gravity. I know that yeah, that's another thing. This particular fucking planet is weird as fuck. For one thing, the clouds don't protrude out from the planet like that. Neither do, like, we make planes that goddamn big or buildings that goddamn big. This is not to scale. This is a fucking cartoon Earth.
Gravity is the theory that science considers as the main factor to keep everything in harmony on a spherical planet.
Water does not come off the Earth because it has a central force pulling towards the center of the Earth, which is gravity.
Why did they put an overlay, like a Wirecast almost overlay over the Earth that he was holding? Like, I don't understand the purpose of that. Like, it just seems like, oh, hey guys, look, I did this. Can we work it into the movie? Sure, Tobias. We can work that in.
It does not exist. According to the experiments, gravity does not exist. From the fundamentals of nature, plumb and level overthrow the theory of gravity.
What? The plumb and level overthrow the theory of gravity? Well, no, it's talking about a plumb like it's a weight hanging from a... Oh, she was kidding. Plumb! Here's your basic plumb and level. What you do is you take this right here, you swing it around your head, and then you lob it at the closest fucking flat earther you can find. Our lawyers want me to say, do not hit flat earthers with a plumb or a level. Thank you for your time.
Is an instrument used to gauge verticality. It is of fundamental use in civil construction to guarantee the verticality of the buildings.
This tool we use to get the wall in the right plumb because it cannot be out of plumb because the wall can fall. So this plumb is used for this, to keep it right and steady on the plumb. Neither there nor here, right there in the plumb.
The use of the plumb is the only way to ensure that construction is being erected in vertical alignment.
Well, I mean, obviously it's not the only way, but I mean, I would say that this is a good way. I don't know. I really don't know if like modern construction companies still just use a plumb and level like this. Huh? I wouldn't think so. I mean, this is great for like low tech kind of stuff, but I really don't think that this is how they make shit now. Okay. Godless Island. Gotta erect my plums. You understand me, boy? Keep your plums in your pants and I'll keep my plums in my pants. Okay, buddy? We're not rubbing plums together. We're not doing any of that plum docking. Uh-oh. Look, guys. It's gravity's biggest kryptonite thing. An air bubble in water.
Level is an instrument used to measure inclinations and is fundamental to ensure horizontality.
Like, I'm fairly certain that horizontality is a real word, but when these people use it, I find myself questioning whether or not these are words. I wonder if they're just making shit up just to sound smart. Like, we need to get this sphericalization off the horizontality of the plumb axis. Okay, fuckers?
It's used extensively in the areas of civil construction, surveying, photography, and astronomy, among others. The most common model is the bubble.
Any construction has to have level and plumb, because if it gets out of plumb and level, it can fall. That house can fall.
Yeah, I don't know.
This equipment is a system of communicating vessels and is used in the laboratory to demonstrate the behavior of water leveling. In what
Gravity, motherfuckers! I mean, come on. Like, the theory of gravity and the law of gravity, you can't explain why that is. Like, it always finds level. Well, yeah, motherfucker, because it always is pulled down because of fucking gravity. But no, This is proof that gravity don't exist. The globe model's a fucking chill horizontalicity sphericalization lie.
Whatever position we place the system, the water that is inside will always search its level. This behavior of the leveling can be proven not only in laboratory, but we can prove this in field experiments in ponds, lakes, and the seas.
So, seriously, why did it take 7 years to just do all these bullshit fucking experiments? Like, seriously, you could have done this entire documentary thing in a fucking weekend. I mean, seriously, guys, it's not that hard to get, like, water in these tubes and then tilt it every which fucking way.
This is a micro version of what we find all over the planet.
Well, no, I mean, it acts like that because it's a micro version. I mean, if you had a big enough one, I guess, to go around the Earth, I mean, it would eventually bend with the curve of the Earth. Otherwise, it would probably get too heavy and snap because of fucking gravity. So, no, I mean, if the way that shit actually fucking works is that the water is pulled to the Earth via gravity, or salt if you want to go that avocado, motherfucker way.
Leveled waters.
By verifying that the water remains level, both in micro and macro environments, it's also...
You're not... Okay, so if you wanted to do a more accurate comparison, just this shot of the water here would be like, just like having just one of those little tubes up there. It would be like somebody sitting in one of those little tubes and being like, hey, everything's pretty much flat here. I guess we live on a flat tube. Like in like the whole grand scheme of shit, from this compared to that, I mean, this right here, of course, would be flat because it's in such a short amount of distance.
Also verified that gravity does not exist, because if this force existed, the waters would follow the curvature of the planet. But then, what forces act to maintain harmony on a non-spherical planet?
Please, this is what I want to know. Like, I mean, how do you explain how everything is without gravity? You obviously don't believe in gravity.
Researchers from Dakila and the Ziggurats Technology Center have concluded that among the fundamentals of nature, the
Godless Island, the Earth flute done lie!
four main forces that, acting together, hold us firm to the ground are magnetism, density, pressure, and light.
What? Magnetism, density, pressure, and light? How does fucking light help shit like work? What? So in order to do away with gravity, you have to have these four components. One, which density doesn't really affect anything outside of whatever that particular object is. Like things affect it, like for instance, gravity. Gravity on denser objects, like the gravity is more. I mean, because it pressure. Like, how do you have pressure without gravity? I'm just kind of curious, like how that happens. Magnetism? Are you trying to tell me that magnetism affects every fucking thing? Like magnetism can attract a goddamn feather? Fuck off.
The researchers called this set of forces MDPL.
MDPL. Experiment. Magnetic fields. Let's do it.
Among the four MDPL forces, magnetism, in contrast to what science considers, is one of the strongest forces that act on Earth.
Well, I mean, like magnetism, I think magnetism is probably a little bit stronger than gravity, but I think it still depends on the scale. I'm not going to pretend to know like intense details about like magnetism, how strong it is versus the other ones. I mean, I'm not going to pretend to know that, but at the same time, gravity of a large object is obviously going to be stronger than like the gravity of a small fucking magnet. I mean, the locality of it and the context in which the magnet exists could have a massive effect on the local area around it, but nothing on a global scale.
It's the main force that keeps everything in balance, from the bonds of an atom to the Earth's magnetic field.
I mean, that's what I thought.
One way to study the performance of the magnetic field.
So they said what okay, so gravity is relatively weak compared to magnetism. But at the same time, like a small magnet is not going to overpower like the Earth's gravity on the whole. Like locally it might. That's what I was trying to get at. Locally it might. Like right here you see the magnets are overpowering whatever kind of gravity is happening. But that's just because of the locality of it.
Field of bodies is to perform a simple experiment where we transform into mechanical waves the kinetic energy produced by the magnetic field in an object. This can be reproduced by throwing an object into the water. Whatever the shape of the object, the waves produced will always be circular, as they are modulated by the Earth's magnetic field. Note that regardless of the shape of the object, the waves produced in the water will always have circular patterns.
Well, yeah, that's because it's a force moving in both dimensions, like in the X and the Y axis. I mean, when you do that, it emanates what? Yeah. Yes, honey, it does look like a cock and balls. But yes, it's moving on the two axes, and so that's why it appears circular, like the waves. But I mean, if you extrapolate this to like 3 dimensions, you would also get a sphere. So I mean, honestly, you're not really working in your favor here. You're actually working against your own interests.
This happens because the waves in the water are being modulated by the influence of the Earth's magnetic field.
It does.
Okay, hold on, guys. I want you to take this in and really absorb what this guy's saying. Magnetism affects like water, like magnetism. Like you could see the effects of magnetism, I guess, in water, maybe, but like I don't think that magnetism is like causing the ripples from like shit, like being thrown in the water. Like that's like magnetism is not the reason why. Thank you, Kirk H420. I can only imagine that might be a mistake. Okay.
Not exist. According to these experiments, gravity does not exist. But going even further, to prove or to sustain the sphericity of the Earth, without people falling, buildings, animals, constructions, the waters especially going off, flying out into space.
Magnetism does not keep buildings on the Earth. Magnetism does not keep water on the Earth. Magnetism doesn't keep anything on the Earth. What the magnetism does, like we have a magnetic field around the Earth, and it protects us from the radiation that we get from the sun. It basically creates a shield, and it makes it so that life can thrive here. If we didn't have that, we would be more like fucking Mars maybe, or Venus. Yeah. So I mean, magnetism doesn't keep shit on the Earth. Gravity keeps shit on the Earth.
To justify people stay fixed on the Earth's surface without being thrown off by the spin of the planet, they created a magical force called gravity. But this magical force is torn down by the plumb and level, because the physical behavior of water is to seek leveling. Or is physics wrong too?
Well, no, physics isn't wrong. Have you ever considered that maybe you're wrong? I don't know. You might be wrong, buddy.
If the physical behavior of waters, according to our physics, is to seek leveling, how will it fix itself to a ball on a sphere without flying off? Space outside without seeking its level? So these are two contradictory things. And even more, to justify the seasons, they decided to tilt a ball 23 degrees.
Well, no, it's not that we decided to tilt it. It's that is what we observed. I mean, we observe this in the stars. We observe it in the seasons that happen and how daylight hits the Earth. Like, that. I mean, honestly, that is just what we experience.
There is no way to tilt a ball, a sphere. Impossible. Let's see. How could a planet or a ball, a sphere, be tilted and waters not get off?
Oh my god! This guy legit just asked, how can we tilt a sphere and the waters not just fall off the Earth? I don't understand that, Durkadur. Luna moves the moon and holds us to the Earth. Fuck, Luna, I knew it!
It has the imaginary axis. The imaginary axis, even if there were a physical axis, what would be inclined is the axis and not the sphere.
No, the actual sphere is tilted. I mean, like for instance, magnetic north changes on occasion, but I mean, our axis is still tilted. I mean, and that fits the way that we perceive reality. This isn't some shit that we just made up one day.
Any position that places the sphere, there is no way to tilt it but the axis. An imaginary axis. That is an illusion. If it is imaginary, it's an illusion. So it's another contradiction. They created this axis that does not exist to justify the seasons in a sphere, in a globular model.
So how do you justify the seasons happening? That's what I want to know. If the globe model's false and the Earth is not tilted and everything like that, then please provide your explanation.
That's not possible. Well, in a sphere we certainly do not live. Because the physical behavior of the waters does not match the reality of the facts. And through the plumb and level, this theory is totally overthrown. Extinct.
Yeah, that's a good question.
What would Earth be like? The first sight, the Earth is absolutely flat. But this plane goes where? Is it square? Is it a circle?
I like how they're using an appeal to authority by having these astronomers and physics majors or whatever come on here and say shit. Like, there's no way I can verify that this guy is actually in the field of physics and astronomy, but even if he was, that doesn't mean that he's innately right. That doesn't mean that he is, you know, beyond challenge. I mean, obviously he's wrong because he's saying that the Earth is flat. And no person in their right mind, let alone scientist, would say that.
Looking from above, the impression you have is that the Earth is flat.
Scientists of the past had only the eyes to observe and the reasoning to create possibilities. The older ancients used a model of the flat Earth, square Earth, triangular and geoid. Later, other scientists defined the most suitable model would be spherical, geoid, putting a stake at one point and another at 800 kilometers. But he did not take into account the altitude, had no GPS, had nothing. So,
I think he's shitting on Aristophanes right now, because he's the first one that, you know, he had the two different sticks in two different locations. He had one at the equator, or a city at the equator, and then one slightly north of that. And then, you know, he had somebody record the angle of the shadows, and he was able to estimate the circumference of the Earth within a reasonable amount of margin of error. But this guy is saying that he had no GPS, which global positioning satellites I still find fucking funny. Huh? Well, their GPS, well, yeah. The GPS system, or the global positioning system, is made up of satellites. So this is what I meant, sorry. So this guy totally shitting on this basic proof because he doesn't have modern technology. I mean, come on, man. This is just a shitty thing to do. It's disingenuous at best.
there is really no way how these ideas, with the technology of today, can be considered, because everything we have today overthrows these theories. Any experiment today can prove that the globe doesn't exist. It's impossible.
But then, how can we determine the real shape of the planet? The CTZ researchers collected information on the movement of the sun, the moon, and the stars in different parts of the planet. In this research,
you know, I like how they say that, oh, we collected data from all of these different cameras that we placed. Like, I believe they said that they placed it. Hold on.
the CTZ researchers collected information on the movement of the sun, the moon, and the stars in different parts of the planet.
Okay. So they didn't say that they placed it. My bad. But they're
In
just
this research,
webcams.
which lasted several years, images were recorded by cameras installed in all these places during the day and at night.
We found several differences in the trajectory of the sun. One of the most significant was between Australia and Argentina, which are in the same tropic.
Well, yeah, they're in the same tropic, but they're in fucking different regions of the world. How can we know? Go to space and look, Tom Middlemist said. And I agree, Tom Middlemist. I mean, they do it here in a second. Just wait. They do it here in a second. They send a balloon up high altitude, and you will be fucking amazed.
While in Argentina, the sun moves at about 180 degrees. In Australia, it moves almost 270 degrees, which would be impossible in a spherical Earth model.
I like how he says this would be impossible on a spherical Earth model, but he doesn't actually prove why it's wrong. He just makes a grandiose statement like that it doesn't work, but he doesn't actually prove that it doesn't work.
Significant example was in the Canary Islands, where a time-lapse of the stars showed a circular movement incompatible with the spherical model of the Earth.
No, that's actually perfectly in line with the spherical model of the Earth. I don't even know what you're talking about right now. Like, I have no idea how it's incompatible with the spherical Earth. How would you expect them to move in a spherical Earth if not in a circular fucking fashion?
This movement would only be justified if the place were near the poles in a spherical Earth, which is not the case.
We do not.
So apparently you would only see that at the poles. You would not see that like elsewhere. for one thing, I think they said where it was, but they also said that it was not at a pole. You don't have to be at a pole in order to see it move like that in the sky.
Understand that with so many discrepancies we have found, and with the technology available today, no researcher, no scientist, no astronomer, no space agency in the world has perceived any of this.
Well, yeah, they haven't perceived it because it doesn't mean that it's a flat Earth. Like, there's nothing wrong with the stars moving like they do or the sun moving like it does in Argentina and Australia.
The discrepancy in the comparison of the trajectory of the sun and the stars between the different points, when related to its geographical position in the current world map, allowed to generate a new geographical model of the continents.
Okay. They said that it allowed them to create a new geographical positioning of the continents. I think what we're about to see here is them rearrange the entire map in order to meet their presupposition of the Earth being flat.
In this model, the continents present a size and position somewhat different from the current world map, having the North Pole to the center and the other continents around it.
Hold the fuck on.
New geographical model of the continents.
Just watch.
In this model, the continents present a size and position somewhat different from the current world map.
Now, I'm no topographer or anything, right? I mean, I'm not. But I mean, this seems a good bit fucky to me. For one thing, you've got like goddamn Britain, Norway, Sweden, and all that going up the asshole of the Soviet Union or the USSR. What the fuck are they called now? Russia. Whatever the fuck. And then you've got, is that Africa? Africa looks like, I don't know, it looks like a really bad weave is what Africa looks like. And then you got North America and South America, and then that little fugly thing off to the side that looks like a diseased liver is Australia. And it looks like it's been a weird fucky way, too. And like, yeah, I don't understand. I mean, like the Norway bit is what I don't get. Like, why is Norway up the asshole of Russia?
Having the North Pole to the center and the other continents around it. This new model was called Convex Earth.
This new model's called bullshit.
We call it Convex Earth because the continents have a convex relief, starting at the sea level, racing to the highest point, and returning to the sea level.
According to altimetric analyses, all the continents present a convexity in their relief.
So you're saying that the reason why land masses even exist is because it's convex? They exist because there's different topologies around the entire Earth. Like, that is just the amount of Earth that is not underwater because of how high it is. That's a better way to say it. Because it's above sea level, you asshats. Not Jawitness says, Earth got beat with the ugly stick something awful. Yeah, they did. They beat the fuck out of it with a big ass ugly stick. Like, this is not anything that we know or can see. Like, this is like, that's just, that looks like the Hulk took a big old shit in a puddle. And that's exact. This is the Hulk puddle shit model of the Earth is what this is.
According to the investigations, in the convex Earth, the magnetic field has the following layout, with the magnetic North Pole located in approximately the middle of the planet. Due to the magnetic field, anywhere on the surface of the planet, a compass will always point to the North Pole, as the south.
There, he's gonna get into it. Bullionator actually put, there's a hidden continent coming up and the gravitational lensing, even though gravity doesn't exist. God damn it, Bullionator, you gotta ruin shit for me. I was on the edge of my seat. Well, I'm standing up, but I was on the edge of my seat here, just staring at the Hulk shit in the puddle.
South Pole represents its entire border. The magnetic field is also responsible for modeling the shape of our atmosphere, which takes the form of a plane convex lens.
Okay.
In this way, the atmosphere, formed by several gases and water in gaseous state, takes on the characteristic of a gigantic magnifying glass with a high degree of refraction, responsible for day and night.
Okay, so you've got to be able to explain why the atmosphere has a high degree of refraction, whatever that is. But you've also got to explain the dynamic, like the fluid dynamics have to work with it. Because if the fluid dynamics are going to work perfectly here on Earth, which is how we understand them to work, that also applies to the atmosphere. Like, the reason why it takes so much force to get out, to get off of the Earth, is because we have to fight through the atmosphere, and we also have to fight gravity. Now, when like a satellite is coming down and crashing to the Earth, I mean, how dense the atmosphere is now is enough to cause enough friction for it to blow up, possibly. I mean, that's what kind of happened with well, sorry, they burn up. My bad. Not blow up, burn up. But I mean, that's what happened with the, what was it? It wasn't Challenger. What was the one that blew up on re-entry? Or got destroyed on re-entry? I can't remember which shuttle was re-entry, but they had a crack in their heat shielding, and it caused them to get destroyed. Let's see. Epoch 4... F4L5 says, they went way too far devising this model. The globe fits just as easily. Actually, I would say that, Columbia. Sorry, Columbia. I couldn't remember which one. I remember Challenger because that happened when I was a kid. Columbia was a little bit later for me, but sorry, I was blanking on it. But they did. Right.
The following experiment simulates the behavior of day and night. We use
Godless Iowan says, you can eat the Earth raw if you like. Like fucking sushi, yeah.
a flat convex lens, a model of the continents,
Okay.
and an external light source simulating the sun. The result is a model of day and night in the corresponding time zones.
Okay, but our atmosphere does not like our atmosphere doesn't work like that. Also, I don't even know how the sun is supposed to be positioned, because like it seems like, I mean, because you got that one little refraction thing going on over here, and then you've also got this. So I'm guessing it's shining in from this direction, and then it's catching right here too. So I mean, wouldn't we be able to test for that? Like, wouldn't we be able to see, like, the sun, and then there's going to be a really fucking bright goddamn light where the sun is also reflecting off of whatever the fuck kind of atmosphere we have? Our atmosphere isn't as thick as glass. God damn it.
What helped us a lot in this research was the information we collected at our own astronomical observatory of the Sigurats Technology Center.
In this manner, the researchers concluded that the Earth is neither spherical nor geoid, but rather convex on the continents and flat in the waters. In this concept, the Earth is like a huge, misshapen asteroid floating in space, surrounded by a very high layer of ice all along its edge.
Okay. The satellites. Okay, so basically, I meant to skip through a lot of this. Basically, with the satellites, they say that the satellites orbit within the atmosphere, which I would love for them to actually be able to explain how satellites can orbit around our atmosphere, but at the same time, like, actually orbit like they do. I know satellites don't orbit in the atmosphere, honey. So that was the best that God can do. Yes, a light in the dark, that is. But with a thicker atmosphere, with, however that atmosphere is actually configured, like, not only do satellites not orbit in the atmosphere, but I think that you would need something to keep them up there. Although I'm sure you explain it with, I think he explains it with magnetism somehow. I'm not exactly fucking sure. Cajun Crustacean says flat earthers should be super concerned about global warming. If the ice melts, all the water will pour out. That's a good point, but most flat earthers believe in God, and they think that God wouldn't let that happen, basically. Okay, so that's how they explain satellites, and they explain photos from space, which of course they show it here, but they explain the photos from space as this whole thing right here. This is kind of interesting. I'm trying to get through this because it's already 9:30.
Flat convex lens of our atmosphere, and the second, according to the theory of curvature of light proposed by Albert Einstein, experimentally proven in 1919.
According to Albert Einstein's theory, the mass of a large object can create a curvature in space-time around it, able to bend the path of a beam of light in its vicinity. This phenomenon was called a gravitational lens.
I'll say this calmly and without curse words. You cannot say that gravity does not exist, but then use gravitational lensing as a central point as to why pictures from space do not give us a true representation of the Earth. That's ludicrous to even do. Like, how can you use gravitational lensing while at the same time saying gravity doesn't exist? Without gravity, there's no gravitational lensing.
A proven physical law has to work in both macro and micro environments.
Yeah, it does. Your shit doesn't.
In this way, the gravitational lenses were proved through astronomical observations of objects of great mass.
Side strike!
Then we conclude that the curvature of light in the high layers of the atmosphere also occurs as a function of the mass of the planet itself and of its magnetic field.
Okay, so basically what they're doing is they're making up several excuses here in order to fit their model. They change the land masses all up and make them all fucky in order to make their observations fit with their own preconceived notion that the Earth is flat. They make up a new kind of atmosphere that apparently is above us that we cannot detect in any sort of way, but yet that's how light works the way that it does. And then they go through and they hypocritically use gravitational lensing to explain why we can't get a good picture of the Earth from satellites or anything else. And basically they special plead themselves and they make up shit in order to fit the Earth to their model. That's not how science is done at all. Yeah, and they're using gravity in order to prove it, so...
Fabricated
Right.
in our laboratory a physical gravitational lens capable of correcting the curvature of light in the upper layers of the atmosphere. In the experiments, we reached the degree of 0.22 for the total correction. This can also be proved through computational simulation. This law also applies to other bodies, such as the Moon, and the planets we know from our solar system.
Well, Bullion, I think that it actually came out just before it. I want to say that it came out just before April Fool's. I don't know though. I could be wrong.
They apparently are spherical when viewed through telescopes, but we do not know their real format. That is, not always what we see represents reality.
Okay, and then they're going through the models they painstakingly built a model. They did one globe and one convex, which, ironically enough, I mean, I like how the convex one is actually just a flat Earth kind of deal with an extra landmass. And they go through all this design and drawing of it, and they have this woman explain how, oh, hey, look, this right here's a globe Earth. This is bullshit, okay, motherfuckers? Like, you don't even have to have any kind of, like, subtitles or this guy speaking for her. Just look at here. This right here is bullshit. This right here is the real thing. You understand? Norway is up the ass of the Russians, and look at that. That's a deformed Australia. Fuck Australia. And then you got people painting and everything, and then she's still saying that the world is bunk, and oh, this doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense because I'm a dumbass bitch. And I'm being paid to say this. And then CTZ researcher, I can only assume is a designation for a volunteer, not an actual researcher. I'm betting this guy sort of ate the paint chips. And then, of course, yep, more stuff about how this is it. Oh, here, new continent.
During the surveys, strong evidence emerged of the existence of a new continent.
And what about the new continent that is far beyond our borders? We call it the Greater North. For those who are here in South America, heading north, so we call it the Greater North.
Which, if you look at their map here,
we call it the Greater North. For those who are here in South America, heading north, so we call it the Greater North.
Crap, I didn't get it. New continent. Okay, so Brazil would be down there, and they're saying that north is straight up over, which I don't know, if you look at North America there, Florida got a whole lot fucking longer. Like, I don't know. And then you've got the goddamn Millennial Falcon as the North, the Greenland, I guess. But anyways,
Strong evidence emerged of the existence of a new continent.
And what about the new continent that is far beyond our borders? We call it the Greater North. Heading with the help of NATO, we were towards the Greater North. There were several perceived with the launch of several atmospheric probes.
Here we go.
Equipped with cameras and other equipment, we were able to identify a territorial mass that is not included in our maps. It is not part of our current cartography. And, analyzing the images, mainly of the probes, we realized that it is part of a new continent, behind an...
So basically, they sent up these probes on these balloons and not only captured the curve, but they captured the part of the atmosphere or whatever fucking landmass that is, but they say that this right here is an extra landmass that is behind a sea, like a wall of ice. I know, honey, you can see the curve. You can see the curve. It's quite ridiculous that they will go to such lengths to explain away like everything that they experience. It's very odd. But basically they're saying that they've captured this giant ice wall, which I guess maybe just the Antarctica? Maybe? I don't know. But they're saying that that is the ice wall in which a landmass sits behind it. And they're literally pulling it out of their ass.
Immense layer of ice. After seeing these images, we directed our expeditions to the limits, where a human being or the autonomy of a ship were able to get. and we collected many evidences of dust on the ice, pollen,
Not evidences.
and other evidences that really brought us to the certainty of the evidence of this new continent.
Então, não há dúvidas de que realmente existe novo continente.
So there is no doubt that there really is a new continent, of new lands beyond the great mass of ice that impedes us to overcome.
You haven't proven anything. You haven't said anything. You haven't done anything. Not Jewitness asks, why does it take so long to get to Australia then and not South America? What the fuck is up with that distance factoring? They explain it by saying, oh, hey, you know, the Earth's lands are actually like different in size. Like North America is a lot smaller, while North America is a lot smaller, South America is bigger, and like other places are bigger or some shit. I mean, it's just fuck.
The research continues. We have not yet put our feet in this place. We only had observations from a distance.
Well, you had observations that were 1, wrong, 2, bullshit, 3, you didn't actually have observations, 4, you had a picture of the curvature of the Earth, but you explain it because of gravitational lensing, which uses a principle that you say doesn't even fucking exist. So I have no idea whether to take you seriously or just label you a troll. I really don't know, because at this point, it kind of just seems like you're trolling us, but considering on your website you say you're a UFOologist and you've been working on this shit for so long and everything like that, I can only take you at your word. But I mean, that's it for that portion of the video. I'm planning on doing a full, complete like debunk and maybe put it in about a 20-minute thing and put that all up. This was for me to get good input from you guys as well as KC and everything so that I can put that together and hopefully do that with my new camera. Still working out some shit. You guys, well, I guess you can hear me a little bit. Still working out some kinks right here, but hopefully I'm going to be able to do live streams with this camera. I'm trying different avenues. Right now I can't get the face detection white box to go away whenever I'm streaming from the camera to here. If any of you guys have like experience with that, please let me know, because I'm trying a whole lot of different shit. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully we can get something to work. But instead of doing Sci Strike evidences Bullionator, sorry for the spoiler alert, GE. No, it's okay. I had already watched it all the way through before. I just thought that it was funny. And I have fucking hair and what the fuck? Anyways, okay. Let's see. No Nikon P900, that's fake. Okay. So, what we're going to do, instead of reading more comments, I want to get to some of your questions. So please, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, in the comment stream right now. And I wonder... I know I can do slow mode for the comments on some way, but I wonder if you have to turn those on, if you have to turn that on before. Turn off auto. I've been trying to do turn off autofocus. All right, I turned slow mode on for the comments, so be careful with what you comment and whatnot. GE, why do I smell smoke coming out of my ears after watching these types of videos? Because your brain is imploding. Slow mo is on. Try turning the camera upside down. I thought about that, but at the same time, like, I mean, I have to use a tripod, so, like, I don't know how to do that with the camera on a tripod. I did the slow mode because it's really hard to get through all of the comments, and so if, I mean, you can just, I mean, it's not really all that big. You know, GE, can you pass the weed? I don't smoke weed. If you were to try to push flat Earth, how would you? Like, if I were to physically push the flat Earth, or like if I were to push the flat Earth as an idea? If I were to push it as an idea, I just wouldn't, because I don't agree with it. I don't ever see myself agreeing with it. Let's see. Godless Engineer, what do you think about the model in this video? It's unlike most flat Earth models. It is very inventive. I will give it that. It's very inventive, but at the same time, it's very dumb. There's no evidence to suggest that you need to upend all of the continents and like shove Norway up the ass of Russia. I don't think you need to do that. Cat Brony, Godless Engineer, do you think you will join us for movie night with Sidestrike? Yeah, I mean, I can, as long as I can do it on a weekend where I don't really have much going on. I believe next weekend we're going to be in Kentucky with Telltale Atheist and one of his friends. So let's see. Godless Engineer, generally I think a lot of us watch these videos through the filter of your critiques. How do you survive subjecting yourself to them raw? Well, I mean, when I'm motivated to do it because they're wrong and I need to learn new things in order to prove them wrong, I'm very motivated to watch them. I'm very open to other people's ideas. I'm very open to people that could be wrong. I can entertain an idea without actually accepting it. And so that's how I get through it, I guess. Being able to entertain an idea without actually accepting it. I was waiting for the April Fools all throughout the stream. Should we trust flurfers with pointy scissors? No. Put the camera on a globe. I don't think that'll work. Godless Engineer, how close to a circle do you think the Venn diagram between the religious and flat earthers is? I think that it's fairly, like, I think that the overlap is fairly big. Obviously there are some out there that aren't religious, but at the same time, I feel like a majority of them probably are religious in some way. How do you think the precision of the equinox would work on their dumb flat Earth? I have no idea how that would work. I really don't. I'm not exactly sure. Like, I can't even fathom how you would possibly make that work. Godless Engineer, is it a smart idea to actively challenge your ideas in order to strengthen them? The ninth generation, that is a very good question. I would say that it is a very smart idea to actively challenge the thoughts or beliefs that you currently have. Not only will you possibly shore up like your own beliefs or things that you know, you'll learn new things in the process. And if you're wrong about it, then you can grow in that way. You can definitely, change your mind about things. I definitely suggest people investigate, like, for instance, atheism. I mean, always challenge your belief on, or your non-belief rather, on whether or not God exists. I do that every single day, and I think everybody else needs to too. Although I'm not going to push it on you as like, you need to. GE avoids the madness by using a lot of Bilube. Try a Steely tablet mount for your camera. Interesting. I'll have to keep that in mind and look it up. Thank you, Puffalufficus 360. Master Rich. Godless Engineer, what game are you going to play next, specifically a video game? Well, let's see. Which one am I going to do next? Well, currently right now I'm playing Far Cry 5. And then after that, I still have like Ghost Recon to get done with and whatever. I think Borderlands 3 is coming out this year, but I also think that Crackdown 3 is coming out this year. So we got a lot of things to possibly do. Christina Johnson says, just wanted to say hi. Just wanted to say hi! Hi! Light in the dark. Horizon Zero Dawn. I have Xbox. Sorry. Outlast 2 is a tour of dark parts of religion. Recommended. I've actually started playing that, but I haven't finished it. I need to. Godless Engineer, do you think we're having a positive effect by rebutting all of the FE and creationist nonsense? I think possibly. If anything, it is definitely informing people as to why they are wrong. Of course, the flurfers that are really deep into it aren't going to change their mind easily. But the people that are standing on the sideline and they're watching the conversation happen, we have a chance to inform them and really arm them with good arguments against, what they're spewing. Would you play the Sniper Ghost Warrior games, as they are fun? I've actually got one of those in my library that I need to play. Well, let's see. Not Joe Witness is looking forward to the Jurassic Park game. I didn't know that they were having one, but that would be interesting. Godless Engineer, thank you for reading my comment. I actively argue with flat earthers and theists, thinking that it will help me become more strengthened in my ideas. That's exactly what I think that it would do. Master Rich, do you remember me? I'm not sure. I mean, I'm usually very good with like faces and not so much with names. Sometimes I'm okay with names, but not so much. All right. The last couple of comments I'm going to read. Captain Miller, Godless Engineer, when they had the compass on the south of SA, South America, how do they solve the fact that the South Pole setup they had showed the South Pole was to the southeast and west? Well, basically, I think they were operating off the idea that a compass is just a magnet that has the south pole of the magnet is attracted to the north pole of the Earth. And so basically, wherever you turned, it was just always going to point south because it's always going to point to the center, is basically how they said it. But in their model, like there's no actual continent of the Antarctic. It was just a big, think of Sasquatch taking an icy shit and then bowling it out, filling it with his piss, and then putting some dirt in it, and that's the convex Earth right there. Ninth generation Godless Engineer, why do you think the FEs believe in the flat Earth if they've never seen the edge? Well, I think that they believe in it because they think that they literally can't go to the Antarctic or anything like that. I think they literally believe that, which, no. Chrismer, Chrismer, a meme, Peachy Keen. Are you setting up the GE cap? I will love to have one. Yeah, right now this is a test trucker cap that I'm trying to get. I'm gonna try a different material, same guy, organizer or producer or whatnot, but this one right here is it's not that great a material, so I'm working on getting a really good one for you guys. Game Motron, I'd say arguing with FE and religious people provides massive amount of entertainment too for people like Godless Engineer do it. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for the feces visual, Godless Engineer. Last one, Cat Brony, Godless Engineer, never heard of Convex Earth described like you did, GE. Well, there you go. That's the best you're gonna get. That's the best description of it that you're gonna get. Well, heathens, tomorrow we do have a live stream, a special one. It's going to be a panel of the Faithless Forum organizers to include me, Holy Kool-Aid, Genetically Modified Skeptic, maybe Telltale? I'm not sure if Telltale is going to be there, but we do have a lot of people that are going to be there. Casey, sorry, Casey. I know, honey. Casey's going to be there because she's always here. I mean, I'm sorry, honey. But, yeah, so we got that going tomorrow. We got a special video that will be coming out on Sunday. That is an announcement for a debate that I'm having next week. And then Monday is a very special video, so I hope you guys stay tuned for that. Anyways, heathens, I will see you guys later. Don't forget to stand up and use your voice. Bye, guys.